Good evening, friends. Today we have a very special guest with us, a person who's from royalty. We have Princess Aswathi Thirunal Gouri Lakshmi Bayi with us. Welcome, Princess.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do I explain this beautiful person? Because she's everything. She's a multifaceted person. She's a writer. She's a spiritual person, and she's also a very, sort of loved person in the, in Kerala, as well as abroad. And it's such a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So let's start with the first thing before we move on to the other points. So I've done a small PowerPoint presentation. So let me just bring that to the fore. Yeah. So here, Princess, I'm just running through the some photographs that we put together. Now here we have the senior queen of Travancore royal family, as illustrated by the royal artist Raja Ravi Verma. Right, Princess? Yeah.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be a very strong person, isn't it? Could you tell us something about her?
She faced a time of a lot of stress and uncertainty because the continuity of the family was at stake.
Yes.
Uh, Her sister had 5 children. She had no children herself.
Okay.
Her children or her sister's children would continue the lineage after Maharaja Sri Thirunal. But as it
Okay.
happened, she had no children. Her
Yeah.
sister, younger sister, had 5 children, 4 boys and 1 girl, and we are matrilineal, so it is the girl through whom the family continues. That little girl passed away at a very young age,
Yeah.
and through Thirunal's, all the 4 nephews also passed away before him.
Yeah.
And the senior Rani had to stand witness to many of these happenings, and it was very, very, very traumatic for her. And she had to, go through a lot of problems before the succession could be satisfactorily settled by adoption.
Okay. So here you have the Kauria Palace, Trivandrum, and here you have the princess during her marriage. You will see how beautiful she looks. And that's her mother, the queen. Can you tell us, Princess, something about this picture?
The other one, the picture which is sort of my marriage, next to my mother, the person standing next to my mother is Maharaja Chitra Thirunal himself.
Yes.
Sri Chitranal, my mother's elder brother,
Yeah.
and our uncle, and if we must put it in a more emotional manner, next to Padmanabaswamy, everything, everything, everything. That
Oh,
is Pannamam, Chitranal.
yeah.
The other photograph which you showed me was of the 2 Ranis, the
Yeah.
junior Rani and the senior Rani. The junior Rani is senior Rani is facing you,
Mm,
and the junior Rani is sitting to the other side looking to the right.
yeah.
Um, they were both first cousins. Their mothers were sisters, uh, and both their grandfather was a famous artist, Devi Verma. Devi
Okay.
Verma's 2 daughters were their mothers,
Okay.
and they were the two, the senior Rani and junior Rani. In 1924, when
Mm,
Sri Muladhar Maharaja passed away,
yeah.
uh, my uncle Maharaja Chitradrinal
Mm,
became the Maharaja, but he was a Maharaja in minority. He was only 11 years old. So there was a period of regency from 1924 to 1931,
okay.
when the region, Sethu Lakshmi Bai Tambrati became
Yeah.
the regent. Sethu Lakshmi Bai is a person who is facing you.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, Sethu Parvati Bai, was the mother of the Maharaja. But she
Yeah.
was 1 year younger to Sethu Lakshmi Bai. By virtue of it, Sethu Lakshmi Bai Tambrati became the regent. And the
Okay.
regency continued till 1931.
Okay. And this is, yeah, you can explain this.
Yeah, this is a photograph taken in Austria, in
Yeah.
Vienna, in the Imperial Hotel. You see from left to right, my mother Karthiki Tirunal Lakshmi Bai, my
Yeah.
grandmother Maharani Sethu Parvati Bai, my uncle Sri
Yeah.
Chitra Tirunal Ramavarma, and standing my younger uncle, Dele Raja,
Yeah.
Uttarakhand, Martandavarma.
Okay.
This is on a visit to the imperial palace. And digressing a little bit,
Yeah.
recently in May, this May, when my elder sister and her husband, they were all in Austria, they were in
Yes.
Vienna, and the imperial hotel invited them to the
Yeah.
same room on the same sofa where, and they had kept all the records of Maharaja's visit, and the last person to occupy the room was Queen Elizabeth
Okay.
the second. And they were invited for tea and they sat on the same sofa in the same room
Yeah.
so many years later.
Yeah.
That is Regent Maharani
Yeah.
Sethu Lakshmi Bai
Mm.
with her husband Ramavarma Vajakoil Tamran of Anantapuram Palace, Haripad.
Yeah.
The two children are her two daughters, uh, Uttram Thirunal, Laltamba Bai, and
Mm.
Kartika Thirunal Indira Bai.
Oh. Oh.
As of now, none of them are there.
Yeah.
That is again my grandmother sitting, my
Yeah.
mother and my younger uncle standing. Oh,
Yeah.
mother is also there. He's standing behind. Yes, he's
Yes.
standing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. That is the person in the red cap is my younger brother Moolam Thirunal Ramavarma. He is the head of the family as of now. After
Yeah.
Uttarakhand moved on, my younger brother has become the Vede Tamburan and
Yeah.
he is holding the historic sword of Maharaja Martandavarma of 1750s by
Mm.
which he dedicated the entire kingdom to Sri Padmanabaswamy
Mm.
in what is known as the famous Tripadidana. It's the same
Okay.
sword he's holding and he's
Ah.
going on the Arat procession. This is Arat
Okay.
procession. Ah. And you don't need much explanation to
Yeah.
you for
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Amodiji and my younger uncle Uttarandandan Martandavarma,
Yeah.
he is handing over the picture of Padmanabha Swami to Modiji when he came home.
Mm.
This, what you see, the background is the drawing room of Kaudia Palace.
Okay.
That is just after the verdict came,
Yeah.
Supreme Court verdict.
Yes.
That came in 2020, not now.
Mm.
It came in 2020, and even that photograph of my son and myself, which
Yeah.
that media took all over. This is
Yes.
all come in 2020.
2020.
This
Yeah.
is all old news. Why it
Yes.
has resurfaced now, I have no idea because nothing else has happened. And
Yeah.
that is my elder sister,
Yeah.
Gouri Parvati Bai Puendrinal.
Mm.
Middle is Aditya, my son Aditya Varma Avitendrinal, and myself.
Okay. Yeah.
And this is again with Modi ji.
No, this is with
No,
Arvind Singh. Yeah. Mewar.
this is Mewar,
Yes.
Maharaja Mewar
Yes.
himself, and on his right is my sister,
Yes.
and to her right is my brother-in-law,
Mm.
C.R.R. Verma of
Mm.
Chembramatam Palace, Haripad.
Yeah.
Next to him is my daughter-in-law, younger daughter-in-law,
Yeah.
Aditya's wife, Rashmi
Yeah.
Verma of Mariapalli Palace, Kottayam.
Yes. Yes.
And then on his left is myself. Next to
Yeah.
me is Aditya, and
Yeah.
next to him are the jewels of a family, the
Yeah.
twins,
Yeah.
Prabha Verma and Gauri Verma.
Oh, great. Beautiful
They are
picture.
twins. That is my elder son Martanda Verma, Puri retired Thirunal Martanda Verma, and myself. I'm holding my latest book, History Liberated, uh, which is my 13th book, and this is in our fort palace, the historic fort palace within the fort, near the temple.
Yeah.
This is a visual of the Arat procession, which takes place twice a year when
Yeah.
the deities Padmanabha Swami, Narasimha Swami, and Krishna Swami are taken in procession to the beach where they are immersed in the sea and many rites take place and they come back. This is that it should go into the Guinness Book of Records because when the land was made available for the airport by my uncle Maharaja Chitra Thirunal, he
Yeah.
said 363 days in a year,
Mm.
this land is
Mm.
for the people.
Okay.
2 days it is for Padmanabha Swami. And
Oh,
for the both Arat processions which come,
yeah.
twice a year, 6 months approximately. The
Yes.
airport is closed for all aviation traffic. All flights, including international flights, are rescheduled till the
Yeah.
procession passes to the beach and back to the temple. And
Oh,
this possibly has not happened anywhere in the world, and
amazing.
even
Yeah.
anywhere in the world. And the picture, as you
Mm.
see, my brother Rama Varma Mulanditnal, he's leading the procession. Right
Yes.
behind him is my elder son, Guru Martanda Varma.
Yes.
Behind him is my sister's son, Ashwathi
Yes.
Rama Varma. He's a musician
Yes.
he's a well-known musician, and he's very much in Bangalore many times.
Yeah.
And behind him is my younger son, Avitanditnal Aditya Varma. Behind him is my sister's husband, C. Rajaraja Varma.
Yeah. Beautiful. This is the Padmanabha Kshetram. Yeah.
Padmanabaswamy temple, eastern view
This
with
side. Yes.
the sacred Padmatirtham, the tank of the temple in front.
Yeah.
That is a visual artist representation of Padmanabaswamy.
Yeah. But under it is the gold.
This one is a wrong one.
Yeah.
This visual
Okay.
which you are showing is
Okay.
totally wrong. Unfortunately, this has appeared many times in many places in
Okay.
Trivandrum also. But
Yeah.
though this is a Padmanabha Swami, it
Yeah.
definitely is not Padmanabha Swami of Thiruvananthapuram.
Right.
That is the correct one. You will see
Okay.
here two hands. In the
Yeah.
other one, you will see four hands.
Yes.
Here you
Yes.
see how
Yeah.
the four hands, and
Yeah.
here you see how Anandan is shaped. Here you see the difference. It is smooth running. There it is
Yeah.
almost like, and then you see the hood. How the
Yeah.
hood is here. Please see the hood in the other one.
Yeah.
Uh, the other gold one, the hood is. See how the hood is,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
here, but Brahma is very close to the.
Uh,
This, there, the Brahma is higher, but the Brahma is
yeah.
higher. But the
Yeah.
main
Yeah.
difference is the absolutely that he has no four hands.
Yeah.
Our Padmanabha Swami is only two hands. This is this particular one which you show. This one was one of the. It is not gold. It's some
Yeah.
yellow metal, not gold.
Okay.
This
Okay.
was in the family possession. My
Yeah.
uncle Uttaradandal handed it over to ashram.
Okay.
Before he
Okay.
handed it over, he had a photograph taken. Great mistake, and that
Yeah.
has come all over.
Yeah. Okay. So back to Princess. Yeah. And as you all know, Princess is the third child of Maharani Kartika Thirunal Lakshmi Bayi of the Travancore royal family. And she was educated at home by Anglo-Indian tutors along with her siblings. At the age of 18 in 1963, she married 26-year-old Vishakam Nal Sukumaran Rajavarma, a member of the Palikara West Palace of Tiruvalla. So, something very beautiful about Princess is that she has written on many subjects, such as temples of Travancore and Kerala, temple architecture, as well as three collections of English poems, numerous articles in newspapers, and books on the culture and heritage of India. 13 books in total. Some of her important works are The Dawn, Kerala Temple Architecture, some notable features Sri Padmanabha Swami Temple, Tulsi Garland, The Mighty Indian Experience, Buddha Darshanam, and glimpses of Kerala culture, Rudrakshamala, an amateur's attempt at poetry, and according to critics, the book Sri Padmanabha Swami Temple, published in 1998, considered a comprehensive work on the ancient temple, is extremely popular and has run into several editions. The book was translated into Malayalam by Shankaran Nambutri and K. Jayakumar. Her latest book is History Liberated, the Sri Chitra Saga. So, Princess, it's very amazing that you are, doing so many things together. Because wherever I meet you, you're also at all the public events, gracing so many of the public events, and managing everything so beautifully. Tell us some of your memories, Princess, as a child. What was it like being a young princess?
Well, I mean, the aspect of being a young princess did not really sink in at all as far as we were concerned. We were very highly disciplined uh, and very time bound. Mother was quite strict, and she was not at all easy with regard to the elastic time as
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
I can't see you. I can only hear you.
yeah. Please continue. We can hear you. We can see you.
Okay.
Yeah,
She was very, very particular that we keep to time.
yeah,
And our routine was always very, more or less inflexible. Very, very few times when we were allowed some, as of course, but uncle Maharaja Chitradinal, he was our repository for all our little childhood uh, uh, emotions, whatever they may be, whether they are our little desires, but we had very little desires as such. No particular wish for anything like that. But otherwise, he was our confidant, our friend, our protector, and he used to tell us so many stories. As children, we have heard number of stories, mostly from him. Mother also has said, but mostly from uncle, which covered a whole canvas of subjects from Puranas and Itihasas to history to political satire to humor to autobiographical references. So many things. All these things we used to hear from uncle.
yeah, yeah.
And but it was a good childhood, though it was
As a
very restricted.
yeah, as a young child, what did you aspire to become?
I really don't know. Very, very early in my younger life, I thought I would become a doctor because I thought it would look very nice wearing a white coat.
Hmm.
But then I changed my mind in a hurry because somebody said you have to dissect frogs and then you have to dissect corpses. So I decided that's not my line. Immediately
Yeah,
gave it up. Then I mean, I always had a sort of a romance with words and letters, and not that I particularly wanted to become a writer or anything, but even as a very young child, I used to write quite a bit. I have my own collection of little poems and articles written as a child, which I have kept in my almara. They're still with me.
yeah,
So that was always something which we liked. History was something which always fascinated, and the very strong focus on the Sri Padmanabaswamy temple.
yeah, yeah,
Actually, from the time we could remember, perhaps the two things we might have heard most. One, of course, was the temple.
yeah,
Yeah, about medicine and its different connotations. Ayurveda, allopathy, that this. So we became doctors without degrees,
yeah.
even at a very young age. Because of so much of exposure.
But Princess, there was a more time when the deity was covered in black so as to protect it from being stolen. During the Mughal invasion. Is that true? And then later, when they discovered it was gold.
No, 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 no. That's absolutely wrong.
Ah,
The deity is made up of a very complex Ayurvedic amalgam known
okay,
as Katu Shakara Yogam. It
okay.
is a highly complex Ayurvedic amalgam, and
Hmm.
this particular deity is filled inside with 12,008 saligramas,
Yeah,
reportedly brought from the Gandaki River in Nepal on elephant back as a submission of the Naresh of Nepal, Maharaja
yeah.
of Nepal.
Hmm.
These have been lined inside 24,000. Out of that, 12,008 are within this idol. It is
Yeah,
coated with Kadishakara. There is
hmm.
no gold at all. There
Yeah.
is no gold or silver or metal. None of
Ah,
them are there. It is absolutely wrong that it is gold and that it was covered in black for protection purposes. No, it is
yeah.
always like this.
Okay.
No gold at all.
So, what makes it the richest temple in India?
That's a question I would like somebody or other to answer. How do we come to the conclusion that it
Yeah,
is a richest temple? People
yeah,
keep on telling us it's the richest temple, it's the richest temple, it's the richest temple. We
yeah.
really do not know
Uh,
because
but because of the greed of the governments to acquire it.
no, many of the articles or artifacts or the jewelry or things, precious things within the temple, many of them have got antique value.
Yeah,
So antique value, how do you place an antique value? The antique value can become operational only if somebody, if there's a financial transaction, which will
yeah,
never take place here. So, I mean, there are, of course, jewelry and wealth, and there's no doubt about it. But again, when they say richest, I don't know.
yeah. So as you grew up, what kind of significance did the temple have on you? Because you follow everything to the T, the rituals, everything. So, what sort of an significance did the temple have on your life?
The temple and more the deity within the temple of Padmanabaswamy, the influence he has on my life is total and complete. If you must, I could perhaps say in a more fancy language, like the beat of the heart, the throb of the pulse, the flow of the blood. Take it whatever you may be, that is Padmanabha Swami for us. In fact, when our case came up, this is not just for me, I mean, for most of us, I mean, he's a total, I, what is it? I don't know, I can't get the word for it. He's totality, holistic in his hold on us. Uh, then when the case was going on with Supreme Court, on the first during the first interview I had with our senior advocate who was representing our case, he asked me, uh, "What would you what would you say? What would you say if you lost the case?" I had only one reply. I didn't have to think what I should say. I had only one reply to tell him: corpses don't talk. If the case is lost, then we are living corpses.
Mm.
Corpses don't talk, do
Mm.
they? That was, so, I mean, as far as we are concerned, it is a heritage, a legacy, a treasure, a wealth, a blessing, a benediction, which has been, we have been fortunate enough to be heirs to divinity.
And this is proof also that, listeners, that this royal family has lived in a very, very simple manner, and their simplicity has always surprised us. I've been to the palace and interacted with the princess and her family with my mother. My mother is a close friend of princess, and I've always been so happy to see the way their simplicity, and not only that, the way they interact with everybody with so much of love and affection, and the kind of hospitality. I mean, I've dined at their palace, and I found how welcoming they are. So this has really changed my image of what royalty is really like, because always we are, whenever we think of royalty, we think of snobbish people, with their noses in the air. But if you meet princess and her family, you will be completely surprised, and happily surprised, because not only is she a beautiful human, but she's also a wonderful writer. Her language, skill, in the English language itself, is something to marvel at. How did you get into writing, princess?
First, just touching fleetingly on your first part of your what you had put across, I think many royal families are very nice, not snobbish. Maybe some, maybe, but then that is not a monopoly of the royalty. Many other people are also snobbish. So, I mean, wherever we have interacted, we have always found very, very uh, friendly, cordial relationship. Anyway, that's not the point. Coming to my writing, what did you ask? I'm sorry, the second
Yeah.
part of it.
So when did you start writing, and what actually inspired you to start writing?
As a very young girl. As a very young girl. Maybe when I was 10 or 11 or something, I started writing. I had a big notebook which I christened as private book. Nobody should look into it, and I used to write whatever comes to my mind, little articles, or go right on top of the palace. And those days, it was a huge, uncluttered vista of undulating green. Now, so much of concrete structures have come up, um, uh, flats, high-rise buildings, with fancy titles of Kerala rising to the skies. Actually, anyway, that's not the point. So whatever it is, but those days it was uncluttered vistas of. It was very, very beautiful, very, very peaceful. So I would sit there and write all sorts of things, poems, articles, and that's how it was. And then slowly, after I was, but they were not published or anything naturally. But after, and my father was very, very proud. He has not seen everything; he has only seen a little bit of my writings. Mother, yes, but then mother was more a stickler to perfection to whatever extent possible, even if it is perfection in compromise. And she would say, with regard to language, you cannot repeat the same word. If you say beautiful here, you may say charming, you may say enchanting, you may say pretty, but not beautiful, you can't repeat. And then you should not start the sentence with and but and which are always done. And poetry, she was very particular that it should rhyme and the meter should be there. I think perhaps to a great extent, if there is any special uh, advantage I have got with regard to linguistic expressions, to a good extent it must have been from my mother because she was such a stern disciplinarian as far as language is concerned also. And then when I grew up after my marriage and all that, a friend of mine, Mrs. Cherian, Supriya Cherian, she said, Princess, why don't you publish something you have written? Have you written something? So my first poem, the first published work of note was on Sri Padmanabaswamy himself. And that was published in London by Gopi Warrior in that he has a poetry publication, possibly you know about it also, Gopi Warriors.
Yeah.
So it came in that. And then slowly only, I mean, the books started coming in. Now I stand with 13 books behind me.
Brilliant. So nice. And friends, you know that when the Supreme Court restored the right of managership or the Shebedship of Sri Padmanabaswamy Temple at Thirunal in Kerala to the royal family of Travancore, but said that the administration of the temple will be managed by a committee headed by a district judge. When before this happened, it was a kind of a turmoil for the princess and her family because everything that was sacred was being walked upon, trampled upon, and exposed to public. So, can you speak a little bit about the experience under the Amicus Curiae, who came to investigate the kind of wealth that is there in the Padmanabha Swami temple?
Amicus Curiae came in at a certain point during the Supreme Court case. He was here on a fact-finding mission or to write a report. From March 1st to I think April 4th or so, he was staying continuously in Thiruvananthapuram. Every day he was in the temple for a very long time, making his report to be submitted to the Supreme Court. And he submitted the report on the 16th of April 2014, exactly 3 months after my younger uncle Thirunal passed away. By the time the Amicus Curiae came, Thirunal was not there, my brother had already taken over. And on the 24th, 23rd of April, 1 week or so after he had submitted the report to the court, the court again met, but the case had been going on for a long time. But this was the first sitting after the Amicus Curiae submitted his report. On the 23rd, I was present in the Supreme Court when it was being discussed. It was such a damning report of 500 pages. It was something which we just could not, when we got the report, we just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
That
I remember you showed me pages of that, yes.
Yes. I thought it was a nightmare that we would wake up from. It can't be real, it can't be true. But unfortunately it was, and it was such a cruel and harsh, and it was not dharmic, and he never asked us anything. We are the prime people he should have interacted with. He did not. He talked to people who were against us. He talked to people who wanted us out. Then he talked to so many others. Many people he spoke, even other people he spoke, but not to us. And then he had the report, and then he said he kept insisted that this temple should be taken away from the family, and he also said that you have to think in terms. I was present. I heard it. It is not hearsay. that this
Yes, I can hear you.
that this institution of Sri Padmanabhadasas,
Yes.
that whether it's necessary to continue it or whether it can be abolished.
Oh God.
Ah, that maybe we should talk to the country and then
Yeah.
decide.
Mm.
Now, supposing they had taken a, no, they cannot take a decision like that just based on his recommendation.
Yeah.
Something which has thousands of years of tradition behind it.
Yeah.
But however, just imagine what he had said. But I cannot see you. Can you see me? I do not know.
Yes. Yes. Fine. We can see you. Just go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I cannot see. It's just a blank.
Yeah. Yeah. We can see you.
Okay, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then uh, the judge said that for the time being, we will not do that.
Yeah.
If the necessity comes, then we can look into it. So we will not touch the Sri Padmanabhadasa aspect, but they handed over the administration of the temple temporarily to a Supreme Court constituted committee,
Yeah.
and the case totally before the Amicus Curiae also the case was going on. So from then to the time that the verdict came, 9.5 years or so, after that, from the time the Amicus Curiae's report came, that's 2014, um, the we were out of administration,
Mm.
and they had brought in their committee. The executive officer was somebody who was appointed by them. The
Yeah.
first executive officer who came, for what reason we do not know, was
Yeah.
very, very hostile to us.
Mm.
We had no interaction with him or anything. He had come once and he was very, very nice. But
Yeah.
subsequently, he completely changed and he was very,
Okay.
very hostile to us. And oh, so many things we have seen, so many things we
You're
have
talking about Gopalaswamy?
No, that is, I'm talking of the executive officer
Okay. Okay.
who came after that. He was
Okay.
very close to he was
Mm.
very close to Amicus Curiae also, the
Yeah.
executive officer.
Mm.
But anyway, we have it was the report was of course very bad, very very bad.
So, what was your mental status at that time? You were very upset at that time.
It was very very what one would say very traumatic when the uh, when this Amicus Curiae's report came and these things happened. Till that time, it was not so bad.
Mm.
But when the administration changed and the attitude of many people, even some of the staff inside the temple, they had changed. We have seen so many things. But then after a little while, I think we came to a stage of mental acceptance when we were able to face all this uh, with a certain sense of equanimity.
Mm.
We were sure that Bhagavan would not abandon us because it is his right to care for his own. Who else will do it for us?
So for so many years, the family has not touched the wealth of the. It has only protected the wealth.
Yes.
Suddenly, the government decides that they want to check it, which itself means that they have vested interests and they want to acquire the wealth. It's as very simple as that. And see, when many moments that you would have felt helpless, did you see some sort of ray of hope that things would come back to normal?
The government, during the case, the government had not really in that way put any claim on the temple. They
Yeah.
said that the High Court's decision they were ready to abide by, which
Mm.
meant that the temple should go to the state. Then
Yeah.
only we go to the Supreme Court. But even in the Supreme Court, the government had an idea of not control of the temple, but to have take some of the wealth and exhibit it in a museum, make it into a tourist destination, make it any commercial or economic venture, etc., which we had objected to, and then it never materialized, and that was so that went.
Yeah.
And then thereafter, they had not tried to interfere with the administration of the temple.
Yeah.
Only now, just a few days back, some discussion has gone uh, into the proceedings of the government, I think, where the talk of this museum and all those things are again uh, I mean, manifesting. But it has been a very huge protest. Uh, Immediately, it's like a backlash. So many associations, organizations, and people have come forward in very strong terms against it. But otherwise, the government has not uh, really interfered in the administration of the temple.
Okay. Also, Princess, I've heard stories of, the people who have gone in to investigate, as they opened each vault, that something bad has happened to them. Is it true?
That is with regard to the so-called B vault. These A and B vaults, the ABCD, A and B vaults are originally known as Sri Bandara Kallara and Mahabharata Kallara and all that. They become A and B and all. But the so-called B Kallara is the one which has not been opened. All the others have been opened. Many of them were not opened because of the Supreme Court. They've been opened. Some of them are opened every day. Then this particular one, A color, opened for no, some of the colors are open specifically for certain purposes. A color was opened recently again, but B color, to the best of our knowledge, remained
So,
closed.
what was it that happened to
No,
certain
I do not
individuals?
know because it was all along. It was the belief that it should not be opened uh, in a sort of a flippant manner, and that so many interpretations, to so many conclusions, so many legends are attached to it. It is said that during the Ashtamangala Prashna, the astrological Prashna which you make with regard to temples. Uh, in the Ashtamangala Prashna, the astrologers, they said the Devatas, as they are called, they said that in that the so-called vehicle under the ground, Bhugarbhamite, under the ground, there are chakras
Mm,
have been installed. The power charge of the chakra connects with the deity,
yeah.
with the main deity, and
Okay.
those power charges should not be tampered with. Today,
Okay.
there will not be people who can uh, sort of repair the damage if such things happen, and that would be very bad for the state and the people.
Yeah.
Then there are stories of a very powerful, malevolent Yakshi
Yeah.
who is sitting in the Kallara under the watchful eye of Narasimha Swami, who is very Raudra Devan here, very, very powerful, Raudram, ferocious, and she is in deep meditation. She should not be disturbed. There are other versions that many yogis, many um, sages who are without body, arupigalaya, who have no rupam, are there in meditation. They should not be disturbed. Some people say the ocean of milk is there, the palari is there, which would flood
And
the place.
is there a big black cobra in the last vault?
No,
No.
it's just a plain door. It's just a plain door. I have seen all those pictures. They're all fabricated.
Okay.
There is no sarpam or anything like that.
And is
There
there
is
an
the
entry into the sea?
not to the best of our knowledge, no. Only thing is in our old records, our churanas, there have been some of the churanas where some many years ago they have given correctly the year and everything that is there. I cannot remember it straight away. It is there in my book also. Uh, that from the floor near the vertical mandapam, that's in the Charituta itself, where the sanctum sanctorum is there, near the Egashila Mandapam, on the floor, milk bubbled up.
Okay.
And the Maharaja and the members of the family, so they have actually taken it and they have, they have drunk the milk and all that, so that the milk bubbled up. And that's sort of connected with the Balai. But I don't think there is any connection with our Arabian Sea now.
Yeah.
I don't
If you
think so.
remember, Princess, there was an incident when some sailors, they came near the place and they attacked some fishermen. Was there any intention to steal anything from the temple?
I doubt it. I doubt it. Why should they? What can the poor fishermen do? So why
No,
attack?
no. The Italian men, they had come in a ship and they wanted to loot. Was that right?
No, I don't think so. I
Ah,
don't think so at all.
okay. So now, Princess, what are your next plans? What do you plan to do now? What are your future
No,
plans?
we are in the final stages of the translation of my 13th book, History Liberated, into Malayalam.
Mm,
Because it is my, I feel it is necessary and it is my desire also that the people of my own land, people in the middle class sections who may not know English or who may not, because this book is a little expensive, its selling price is 2,500. It is coming to the third impression already, but even then, I mean, to reach the common people, it has to be in our own language, Malayalam.
yeah,
So the translation by somebody else, by a very accomplished linguist, Dr. Minnie John, equally adept in English and Malayalam. She has done the translation, and it is being printed and published in Thiruvananthapuram, unlike the other book, the English book, which was printed and published in Delhi.
mm,
So this would come. So we are very much involved with that, and also in the updating of the Malayalam version of the Sri Padmanabaswamy
yeah,
temple. Uh, those are the things which at the moment.
yeah. You are busy with. Princess, what is your opinion about how Kerala is being ruled now?
Mira, you see, the point is, I wouldn't like to enter into
Okay, comment
politics
on that. Yeah, because
or
it's very
come out of
different
politics.
from the time when the Maharajas ruled Kerala, and
Yeah,
there is a
I mean,
difference. Yeah,
yes, definitely.
yes,
Because there is, for whatever, for good or for bad or for whatever, just let the people decide whether this is the good government or not. Let them decide.
yeah. Please tell us about your grandchildren, your twins. What do they do?
I have three grandchildren. My the eldest is a boy. Uh, he is my elder son's son. His mother is a famous dancer, Gopika Verma, a famous Mohiniyattam dancer. And my son is a business executive,
Yeah,
and only one child, that is Vishnu. We call him Vishnu. He's Rama Verma. He's at the moment in Melbourne. He's working there, but in a few years he will come and resettle in India.
yeah,
The my younger son Aditya, Survana are the twins,
yes.
Gouri Verma and Prabha Verma. They are now in +1 in Marijuana's college doing physics. that's that's the grand.
Have they inherited any of your literary qualities?
I beg your pardon.
Have they inherited any of your literary qualities?
I mean, they can write if they want, but these days, uh, I think they're too lazy to do it. I don't know, but they definitely can write. They were writing a little, and they even made little stories when they were younger. Beautiful little stories they made. Unfortunately, uh, now now you are in college, and then you're so busy with all the impossible syllabuses you have to learn and all that. So now they're not doing it. I hope maybe at some time I told them, don't take physics, take language, take linguistics or language. You're very good at language. So why don't you do that? But I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Also,
these days.
another point, friends, is that her son, Prince Aditya, and his wife, Rashmi, are avid photographers.
Yes,
They're very good. Their photographs are beautiful, brilliant
yes,
photographs. They
yes,
are really deeply into different kinds of nature, and animals. Very brilliant photography by both
yes,
the husband and the wife.
yes.
So, yeah.
Mainly
So,
nature and birds and animals and more than human beings. Yeah, they are very good at it. Yes, they are. And
so
I
on
think
this note,
Aditya is bringing out a super duper. pictorial book on his visit to Attica Das.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a magnificent work. Of course,
Yeah.
many people have brought out magnificent works on Himalayan regions, but
Yeah.
anyway, this is also a magnificent book. It is almost ready.
Yeah. So, on this note, Princess, we can end this session. Thank you so much for your for coming on our show and gracing our
Thank,
show with your
thank
beautiful
you so much,
persona.
Mira. Thank you. It was a pleasure interacting with you. Pleasure seeing you after a long, long time. And God bless. And to your mother also, to Mrs. Das, please give her my love. God bless.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Bye bye.
Namaskar.